Hi and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news headlines have been reported by world major English news channels and news agencies. So please watch it.
Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. A flash flood emergency right now in Virginia. More than 90 million Americans could be impacted by winter weather. Breaking news, what we just learned about the talks between the U.S. and Russia to end the war in Ukraine. And thousands of IRS workers could be laid off in the middle of tax season. First, a stormy night ahead for much of the country. Severe storms, possibly tornadoes in the south. Life-threatening floods in Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Rain, snow, and ice in the northeast, and mudslides in the west. Our weather team's tracking it all. The news just coming in, talks between the U.S. and Russian officials to end the war in Ukraine are set to begin in Saudi Arabia. The IRS in the crosshairs. Up to 15,000 IRS workers soon be out of work, just as the agency gears up for tax season. Confusion at multiple government agencies already dealing with mass cutbacks under Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. Scientists and doctors fearing they won't be able to respond to a health crisis. Emotional reunions in the Middle East. Hamas releases 3 more hostages, including an American. Hundreds of Palestinian prisoners also released. The larger question, will the fragile ceasefire deal hold? Also tonight, Pope Francis said to be showing some improvement, but spending a second night in the hospital with bronchitis. The Vatican canceling several appearances. The suspect accused of murdering a top insurance executive makes his first public statement, thanking supporters who donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to his legal defense. Highway drivers running and find him now. Investigation now underway. Egg prices skyrocketing nationwide because of the bird flu. Restaurants and supermarkets taking drastic action. Plus what some people are now using as egg substitutes. And America Strong. He's a pet's best friend. At 96 years old, he still delivers the goods.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
People being tired using TikTok. Just operate them. Here to react is co-chairman of the Northern Border Security Caucus, Congressman Ryan Zinke. Canada, especially in a place like your home state, is pretty amazing, especially considering what we're starting to see come over that border.
Well, and the danger we're not right. Hundreds of crossings from people on the terrorist watch list, as you know, and it's in this massive border. Montana alone, it takes 16 hours to go across Montana, and Trump has an agreement. Of course, we have 10,000 Mexican troops patrolling the southern border, and we have the Royal Mounties on the northern border, but still a lot of border and a lot of distance being off.
So, see, in the last couple of weeks, we've gotten some assurances from Canadian officials. This is a problem with much of your career. Is this do you have any faith that Canadian officials are going to step up and actually do anything?
Well, they certainly have the potential. The relationships are a little on ice, no pun intended. But the border, both have to take it seriously. And there's a lot of things we can do jointly, especially our ports and our ports. From Trump, look, we're not going to take more. We're going to take serious. We're going to take New York seriously. We're going to take Washington, D.C., our capital.
But can he hold
shtick by a guy whose message is failing to resonate.
The next chapter in a piece of
I read that time has come. The armed forces of Europe must be created.
could a European army be the kind of me a little bit forward instead of backward? Servicemen and women compete and inspire in the 7th Invictus Games.
Global National. Reported tonight, Carolyn Jarvis.
Good evening and thanks for joining. Tonight, the federal government strikes a deal with Nauru, 3 people with serious criminal histories to be resettled in the island nation. Peter Dutton most likely to be the next Prime Minister at the upcoming election, according to a fresh YouGov poll. Labor to match the coalition, the Albanese government to ban foreign investors from purchasing existing Australian homes for 2 years. Sydney commuters brace for further chaos as the New South Wales government loses its bid to stop industrial action. And flood warnings remain in place in northwest WA as ex-tropical cyclone Zelia moves over the Pilbara. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Meredith Sheehan.
Hello, we're live. You're watching Worldview with me, Gavin Lee, on France 24. We are here in the north of Europe, a cold season, but we are halfway through February, almost into the arms of March. Let's get the headlines tonight. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tells reporters he is working in full cooperation with the US to make President Trump's plan for Gaza a reality. It follows talks in Jerusalem. New Secretary of State Rubio, who says the plan may have surprised people, but described the proposal to take over Gaza as we saw Palestinians rebel fighters in the Democratic the biggest in the east. Thousands of people have fled over 48 hours back to M23, as you can see inside Independence Square in the city, filming themselves amongst crowds as they entered. The African Union have been holding a summit focused on stopping the crisis. We're going to be in the DRC capital, Kinshasa, shortly. And a once-in-a-generation moment for European security. Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer talks about the importance of a summit here in Paris, due to be held. It cannot be understated, say the Brits, but Baltic leaders have also described it as a once-in-a-generation opportunity on Ukraine's war, better protecting the continent, and the changing dynamic with the US administration. We're still expecting a definitive date, but diplomats have said that it is due, or they've been told, it will take place tomorrow. We'll have the full story.
It's time for Sarah. This is the News Hour. 60 minutes of news, analysis, and interviews. We begin right now with the top stories. President Zelensky warned Putin and Trump as Europe's leaders prepare to hold an emergency summit about Ukraine.
I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine.
The PM under pressure over defense spending as a cabinet minister tells Sky News the military needs more funding. Marco Rubio makes his first police investigate the Valentine's Day murder. How recent animosity between the United States and Canada spilled out onto the ice during a hockey game. And the stars come out for one of the biggest showbiz nights of the year. We are live at the BAFTA Film Awards. Plus in sport, Liverpool beat Wolves to regain their 7-point advantage at the top of the Premier League. Good evening. It's been confirmed that European leaders are meeting.
President Trump and I are working in full cooperation and coordination between us. We have a common strategy, and we can't always share the details of this strategy with the public, including when the gates of hell will be opened, as they surely will if all our hostages are not released until the last one of them.
The president's also been very bold about his view of what the future for Gaza should be. Not the same tired ideas of the past, but something that's bold and something that frankly took courage and vision in order to outline. And it may have shocked and surprised many, but what cannot continue is the same cycle where we repeat over and over again and wind up in the exact same place.
The French foreign minister has confirmed that President Emmanuel Macron will be hosting a meeting with officials from key European nations today to discuss security in Europe. The gathering comes after US President Donald Trump had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin last on ending war in Ukraine. The move caught Europe by surprise and triggered worries that it may be sidelined in discussions. Hundreds of Russians marked the first anniversary of the death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny in prison. Some are braving freezing temperatures and potential retaliation to pay tribute at his grave. Moscow said he died during a walk in the prison yard, blaming his death on natural causes. However, rejects the explanation. His mother says she's doing everything for an investigation to be carried out. Navalny had been described as the main opponent of Russian President Vladimir Putin and was declared an extremist by Moscow. Overcrowding is persisting at New Delhi's main railway station after a fatal stampede killed at least 18 people on Saturday. The incident took place after a swell of passengers scrambled to board trains. Large religious gathering is taking place, the Mahakumbh. Additional security personnel have been deployed to manage the crowds, but people continue to push onto trains. And that is the latest from the CNA newsroom.
Cheers, but also uncertainty. This is how rebels from the M23 group were greeted by a crowd of civilians upon entering the city center of Bukavu in South Kivu. It is the second regional capital city in the Democratic Republic of Congo that the rebels have taken since early January, when they launched a lightning-speed offensive on Goma in neighboring North Kivu. M23 marched south into Bukavu on Saturday, although conflicting reports initially made it difficult to confirm the extent of its advance. Congolese soldiers and allied troops from Burundi had reportedly retreated from Bukavu military bases on Friday.
At the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on the international community to urgently act in support of Sudan, where the humanitarian crisis continues to escalate. Addressing a high-level conference on Sudan, Guterres emphasized the need for tremendous leverage.
Tonight, the major
major winter storm blasting the eastern U.S. and the threat that remains, millions in the storm zone from the Midwest to the Northeast. That system bringing heavy snow and ice, as well as flash floods, even tornadoes, the latest forecast. An American hostage released from Gaza after nearly 500 days in captivity. The emotional reunion with his family as fears grow that the ceasefire deal could break down. The new warning from Ukrainian President Zelensky, his call for a European army to protect the continent instead of relying on the U.S. The White House attempting to reverse the firing of some nuclear safety workers and now facing a new challenge as they try to do that. The high-profile sexual assault lawsuit against Jay-Z dropped by his accuser, what led to this blockbuster decision. Speaking up, accused CEO killer Luigi Mangioni's new message from behind bars. Caught on camera, the daring underground rescue to save a 16-year-old boy trapped in an abandoned mine. And high-tech drones leading to happy reunions like these. Why more and more owners are turning to this cutting-edge technology to find their best friends.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Tonight, punishing weather, more than 130 million Americans on alert. Snow, ice, and freezing cold from the Midwest to the Northeast. Tornado and flooding threats in the South.
And I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. We have severe weather coast to coast. I am tracking it for tonight and for your Sunday.
In California, weather whiplash.
I'm Elise Preston in Altadena, California, where fire victims face a new threat, mudslides.
Also tonight, Hamas takes a swipe at President Trump's Gaza plan.
I'm Chris Lipsey in Tel Aviv, where after the ceasefire deal nearly crumbled, 3 hostages are now free.
From the federal workforce to tariffs, President Trump's sweeping changes include some pet peeves, from complaints about Boeing to paper straws and even pennies. New York's mayor facing new turmoil over his Trump ties.
I'm Allie Bauman in New York City, where the mayor is denying claims of a quid pro quo deal as the Justice Department moves to drop his corruption case.
And later, final voyage.
The Superliner United States.
The fastest ocean liner ever to cross the Atlantic prepares to ship out of Philadelphia for a watery grave.
Britain's unforgettable salute to the liner United States.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.